Welcome to this explainer. Let's jump right in because we are standing right on the edge of a massive, high-stakes shift in how we move across the globe. Just think for a second about the sheer volume of people crossing international borders every single day. We're talking millions of individuals, all relying on a little paper booklet to prove exactly who they are. Well, we're looking at an imminent transition away from carrying those familiar, physical documents in our pockets towards broadcasting encrypted cryptographic tokens instead. It's a fundamental change to the very fabric of international travel, moving entirely from paper to silicon.
I want you to picture a scenario for a moment. Treat this like a bit of a near-future mystery, but one that's actually arriving way sooner than you might think. What if physical passports were just completely replaced by microchips? It's a fascinating thought experiment, and it perfectly frames a core duality we're going to explore today. Because on one hand, you have the promise of ultimate frictionless convenience. Never fumbling for your documents at the TSA line again. But on the flip side, a purely digital future introduces some incredibly complex vulnerabilities that we really haven't fully grappled with as a society yet. We're trading a physical booklet for a digital broadcast, and honestly, that trade-off changes everything about how our identity operates in the real world.
Actually, scratch that. We don't have to imagine too hard. Let's ground this high-tech concept in reality. If you've got a modern passport nearby, go ahead and grab it, or just picture the front cover. You'll likely see this small, rectangular kind of camera-like chip symbol stamped right at the bottom. Seeing that symbol means we're actually already halfway to this digital future. Your current paper booklet already has a tiny embedded electronic microprocessor inside it, holding your biometric data. So the foundation for all of this, it's already sitting right there in your desk drawer. Section 1. The end of paper. So yes, we already have chips in our passports, but completely eliminating the paper booklet altogether, that opens up a whole new world of possibilities, and for sure, new vulnerabilities. The official terminology for this shift is already being formalized as DTC, or Digital Travel Credentials, and the International Civil Aviation Organization is actively guiding this transition globally right now. The ultimate goal is extracting your identity data from a physical passport entirely and putting it into secure hardware, which allows you to interface directly with smart border gates. Now, if we cut paper out of the loop completely, the source material indicates that society is likely going to fork into two potential paths. Section 2. Path 1. The smartphone enclave. This first path is what we can consider the immediate future. This is where your official passport lives inside the secure element chip of your smart device, like your phone or your smartwatch, and it's tied directly to a government cloud infrastructure. Let's walk through how this automated border process actually plays out. It's a super simple 3-step process that totally gets rid of that frantic digging through your carry-on bag. First, you just walk up to the automated border gate. Second, wireless tech, like near-field communication or ultra-wideband, securely transmits your identity token to the gate's sensors. And third, your own physical presence acts as the key. A live biometric match of your face or your iris unlocks that encrypted data. Boom. The wireless tech in your live features have completely replaced the physical handover. And hey, this isn't just science fiction theory. The European Union's fully operational Entry/Exit System, or EES, is a massive real-world proof of concept for this exact thing. It proves that live biometric recording can entirely replace traditional manual ink stamps. It streamlines the processing time for third-country nationals entering the Schengen area by capturing facial images and fingerprints digitally. So this transition, it isn't decades away. It's actively happening at borders today, fundamentally altering the logistics of European transit. Section 3. Path 2. Subdermal implants. Now this takes us down a much more radical route. Instead of carrying a smartphone in your pocket, a tiny microchip is actually injected right under your skin, typically sitting in that fleshy web between your thumb and index finger. It's wild to look at these two technological paths side by side. On one side, the smartphone enclave still requires you to physically hold a piece of hardware and undergo a facial scan. But on the other side, the subdermal implant relies on an injected chip, reducing the entire border control process to a literal wave of your hand. It's basically trading dystopian sci-fi movie tropes for the very real, very mundane desire to just get through airport security without having to take off your shoes. Now, it's absolutely crucial to neutrally look at the actual mechanics of these implants, just like the source text does, to understand how they function in reality. These are passive RFID or NFC microchips. They require absolutely no batteries, drawing their minimal power entirely from the scanner itself. And here's the big one. They do not broadcast your GPS coordinates. No way. They remain entirely dormant and only wake up when energized by an official scanner at incredibly close range to securely share an encrypted ID.
This specific detail directly addresses those immediate concerns about active global tracking. These chips literally just lack the physical capability or the power source to act like a GPS beacon.
Section 4. Paper versus silicone.
So, as society moves away from analog ink and paper toward pure silicon, the dynamic between convenience and security shifts dramatically. Let's look at physical security first. Paper is inherently vulnerable, right? We've all felt that unmatched sheer panic of realizing your physical passport accidentally went through the washing machine in your jeans pocket. But a microchip is resilient. It can be securely backed up on secondary devices, or in the case of an implant, it's literally impossible to misplace. Processing speed also sees a massive leap. Silicone eliminates manual document handling by border guards, allowing for near-instantaneous automated processing at airport e-gates. That cuts down those frustrating bottleneck lines that totally plague international hubs.
But a really crucial point here is how this technology handles anti-forgery. Physical ink, watermarks, photographs. Unfortunately, highly skilled forgers can meticulously alter all of those. A microchip changes the game entirely by relying on complex mathematics instead of visual inspection. It uses cryptographic signatures that are verified against global public key networks. And here is why that is a huge deal. If even a single byte of data, like a single pixel on your digital photo or one letter in your name, is tampered with by a bad actor, the underlying mathematical signature completely breaks. The e-gate validation instantly fails. It is a massive, mathematically verifiable leap forward in credential security. However, that pure microchip infrastructure brings us to its greatest, most concerning weakness: system vulnerabilities. Think about it. Unlike a physical passport where a loss or a forgery is completely isolated to one single traveler, a digital identity system relies entirely on central interconnected databases. As the text points out, a major network hack, a targeted cyber attack, or even just a widespread power outage could literally freeze international transit globally. You simply can't manually process a secure cryptographic token if the power is out. It creates a single point of failure on a planetary scale.
Section 5. The ethical crossroads.
Moving beyond just the technical mechanics of servers and microchips, zooming out to the societal level forces us to confront some very uncomfortable ethical questions that a completely paperless system creates. The source material outlines 3 major societal shifts caused by ditching paper. First, it threatens to significantly widen the global digital divide. Second, it drastically amplifies the operational capabilities of a surveillance state. And third, it brings about a subtle but profound cultural shift: the loss of romantic travel nostalgia. So let's break these down neutrally based on the source data. First up, the digital divide. We are looking at a harsh, real-world split emerging here. Tech-rich nations with massive economic infrastructures are going to deploy these systems, allowing their citizens to easily cruise through biometric checkpoints worldwide. Conversely, nations without the financial or technological resources to deploy and maintain these advanced cryptographic scanners could see their citizens marginalized. If you hold a purely digital credential but arrive at a border that simply cannot read it, well, you're stuck. This could lead to intense travel delays or outright exclusion from efficient global transit, effectively mirroring global economic disparities right at the physical border check. Second, we have to objectively look at the surveillance capabilities. When identity verification is entirely digitized, centralized, and tied to every single border scan, it grants the managing system flawless tracking capabilities. A government or central authority could flawlessly track historical movements across jurisdictions, instantly restrict a person's ability to travel, or even freeze a digital identity entirely with just a single line of code. The restrictive power of a fully centralized digital identity is immense, centralizing control into a highly efficient automated infrastructure. Finally, on a much more cultural, human note, the text points out that we're losing a piece of the romantic history of travel. There is just something deeply reflective about the physical ritual of flipping through worn paper pages, looking at faded, colorful ink stamps from far-off corners of the earth, and remembering the journey. We are trading that tactile history for a sterile, silent digital ping. It's a permanent shift in the human experience of crossing borders and documenting our lives. So I want to leave you with this provocative question to chew on as we wrap up this explainer. As we speed toward the silicon future, is the ultimate convenience of a literal wave-of-the-hand border crossing truly worth the absolute centralization of your global identity? It is an incredible, awe-inspiring technological leap, but the ethical and societal costs are just as profound. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive. Keep questioning and keep learning.